Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Upsurge. It's the first week of the UPL, and I am so excited to get into the finest of amateur League of Legends that's out there on the scene. My name's Travesty. I'm joined here by my co-host, Goat Forino, and Forino, we got a very exciting matchup between the two of us here today.
Yeah. We have Horizon Esports versus Rise Black, which is, both of them do have Rise in their name technically, so will be a battle of the Rises. Although, funnily enough, it doesn't look like any of the players on either team plays Rise, so...
Yeah, I was about to say, that's a little weird. No Rise there. They might have Rise in their song history on Spotify. They've been jamming out to that, had it on repeat, and they're like, you know what? This would be a great name for a team right
To be
here.
fair, Rise is the best world song. Don't have me.
I'll let you have that one. I'll let you have that one. There's a lot of good songs out there, but that one's definitely up there towards the very top. But let's go ahead and start talking about the matchup here going into it, as this is going to be the very first day. We don't have a very limited plate to digest here, so I say we go ahead and we'll start off with Horizon Esports here. And we got to talk about the fact that this is an org that's apparently been around for about a year's time. It seems like they were founded back in February 2019. And it's a growing organization that's made their way over here into the UPL. So a lot of very interesting details to come out there, especially since they almost qualified for the TCS.
Yeah, and I mean, the TCS is probably one of the biggest unofficial, if not the biggest unofficial League of Legends tournament out there. So even almost qualifying for it's pretty good. And I mean, you've seen the caliber of the teams that do get into there. So, you know what? Almost getting in, that's still pretty good.
I 100% agree. You gotta have that little bit where it's like, we were almost there, and that could tell us that this team is the underdogs, the dark horses that could be coming out into Upsurge, and a lot of people on here that could be coming in here looking to just take the top as quickly and swiftly as possible. But that doesn't mean that we can forget about the other side here. We got Rise Black. Rise Black has actually been an organization that's been around for a little bit of time here, and has just kind of growing their community, always growing and always looking to improve. And they've got a couple interesting players inside of their team here.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, they have, they've been able to do a decent amount in the almost 2 years they've been around. They have some pretty good players, like you said, especially their top lane, TC Porsche, my bad, because it was challenger last season. But he was also kind of a very, very hardcore gangplank one trick.
And that does add to the question here. Is it going to be an orange and everything's going to be okay, or is it going to get banned out here? A lot of times, you and me, we work inside the amateur scene quite a good bit, and we do see one tricks that pop up from time to time, and there's two answers that come to it. They either teams figure out an exact answer for said pick because it's just unorthodox, there's different counters to it, or there's just a ban it, we don't want to deal with it. And Gameplank's a very unique champion, so go for it. Let me get your prediction real quick right now. When there is a Gangplank one trick on the other team, is it ban or not ban?
So I actually have a close friend of mine who's a mid-diamond Gangplank one trick, and all the tourneys I've ever seen him play in, he will at best during a series get Gangplank once. So we might see the Gangplank come out once here for TC Porsche, but I don't think he's going to get his hands on it again, unless if the side of Horizon Esports has his number. Because, I mean, Gangplank can be abused in lane if you do get the right counter, but you also have to remember TC Porsche with, what was it, about 450 games or something like that last season on the Gangplank alone. So he probably is very familiar with how to play a bad matchup.
That being said, bans have already gone on through. We've got 2 bans being fired off from both sides here as the third one comes on out. Rumble, Syndra, Shaco, no surprise here, making sure to get rid of some of those isolated matchups, and Rumble being too freaking strong as Rise it's going to go ahead and ban away the Misfortunate. Looks like putting a little bit of a pinch on the AD carry pool. What is Horizon going to be looking for here?
Oh, Lord. Oh, it's actually going to be the game plan. So I remember we were talking about this, like, hey, I mean, Undefeatedin has also been playing the Gangplank himself a decent amount this season. Hasn't had the best success, but we're kind of asking, hey, what's the chance that they just let the Gangplank go through and first pick it? And here we go.
Yeah, and there's the Senna Braum, a very common matchup that you do get to see. It gets picked up by Rise Black, but Horizon, they're going to be firing right back on off. It is going to be the Xayah and Rakan that's going to be picked up. So the Lovers duo for Horizon giving themselves a strong laning phase. Now Rise Black, they got the ball in their court. They do know what the matchup is going to be over there inside of the top lane. So that's going to be a very curious thing to take note of as they are going to be looking at their last ban here before they go into ban phase.
Yeah, for sure. As it looks like it's going to be the Aatrox into that Gangplank. And I mean, Aatrox has just been played so much across the world within, well, ever since his rework in, what was it, 2018, I want to say? Mm-hmm. It's been around in pro play constantly for over a year at this point. So, but you have to remember that TC Porsche, he hasn't played a ton of picks outside of that Gangplank. So we'll have to see how well he plays on that Aatrox.
Yeah, and it's a very strong champion. A lot of times you see people playing it more as a counter or a blind pick. It's just a very safe blind pick, but taking it here into an aggressive matchup. Now we're seeing the Olaf banned away and Veigar banned away as well with Iron on back. What you and me were talking about before the stream went live, the amount of mage players that are actually inside of this and in the mid lane just in this game alone. And Veigar, very strong mage, has risen up in popularity. It's like one pro player played him one time, and all of a sudden his popularity exploded. It's just been a disgusting pick.
Yeah, for sure. Although we won't get to see said disgusting pick this game with it being taken off the table, and yet another mage being taken off the table in that Cassiopeia. So just not wanting any deal with the mages right now is the gameplay plan, or the game plan of Horizon here.
Now, Orianna is still left up on the table. I think that's probably like the biggest mid laner that we can talk about, as Elise looks like it's going to go ahead and get locked on in. So that's going to be very good here. Very early aggression jungler coming out.
Yeah, because, I mean, Elise, we've been seeing a lot of her lately, and pair that with a lot of utility in the bot lane like Senna and Braum, that can set up a lot of ganks well, just with how much CC you can put out between them. With the Senna W and, of course, Braum passive. Not to mention in the top lane, though, you can also go there because, I mean, Aatrox does a lot of damage himself and can set up ganks decently well with the Infernal Chains. Not to mention all the knockups. So we will have to see how that pans out.
And the right side being picked on up does give them some early aggression to play with as well. Horizon, now the pick is in their corner. What do they want to kind of pair together? As they've got some strong strength in this right side, this Rakan. What else are they going to look to grab for themselves here as their options are still up on the table?
Yeah, most likely going to be mid lane pick here. If research has... Oh, it's going to be the Diana actually here for her iStupid. He has been playing a bunch of Diana recently, and I mean, Diana has been very powerful in the current patch ever since her mini rework where they swapped the E and the ultimate. It's just helped her out so much.
Yeah, it's made her a lot more able to use her own resources, I guess is the best way to put it. As Rise, man, look, you were talking about it. Everybody has a Rise in their pocket, and it is going to go ahead and be picked on up. So we have a very interesting matchup all across the board here now, as we do have a Rise going up against a Diana in the mid lane, Elise versus Rek'Sai, top lane Aatrox versus Gangplank, and Senna Braum taking on the Xayah Rakan. And this has been a very, very interesting draft. RiseBot did a phenomenal job keeping these picks hidden around as they need.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be interesting to actually watch the bottom lane here, because one important thing about Senna is that her auto attacks do have a naturally long wind-up time, since she is very slow attack speed, basically locked to like 0.7. And when you're stuck in a position for that long, that opens you up for easy prey to the Grand Entrance. So Rise Black, they might have to play very careful in this bot lane, or else they might just eat up a full rare combo and die.
Combo would absolutely just break their jaws at that point in time, leave them speechless. And you got to watch out for that, as Rakan, he can be just as devastating as he is charming with this kind of a team to back him up, sets up those barrels just like they need to, and that's what they're going to be looking to do. I do have to go ahead and point out the fact that Horizon does have a much more, I use this term a little bit when I look at it, when I say a solo queue-esh kind of composition here, where each lane is very self-dependent. You don't really need the Rek'Sai to really do too much, but the Rek'Sai, very aggressive pick. How do you feel about Horizon as we're going to be looking at these laning phases, and is that a big strength of theirs that they need to look to exploit?
We will have to see, because they definitely have the means to do it in lane, get their own solo kills, except for maybe in the top lane with the Gangplank, since it's not always easy to crack through Aatrox with all his sustain and the move speed from the World Ender. But of course, when you have independent lanes like that who can get kills on their own, an aggressive jungler like Rek'Sai, it isn't like a complete waste, because it's like you can still kill him if the Rek'Sai comes in and helps him. So you're just kind of killing him faster, and guaranteed kills in lanes, those can lead to plates, can lead to objectives. So we'll have to see how it works out here, because Rek'Sai, definitely an early game jungler, just like this Elise for the side of Rise Black. So both junglers, they are going to be wanting to make things happen on the map early on.
And we do have to talk about also the fact that when we look at these two teams, this is not the Gangplank that we were expecting to see, right? This is a Gangplank over on Horizon, not on Rise Black. And I do have to draw into the fact that there could be a concern there. TC Porsche, he is a Gangplank one trick. What does that mean? That means when you play a champion against him, when you're playing the champion that he has spent so much time mastering over the time span of 3 to 4 seasons, I would say probably about 3.5 seasons worth of him playing this champion so much, he's got to know what its weaknesses are. And we're going to have to keep our eyes on this top lane matchup, because it is going to be a very explosive one, where either Undefeated One could keep his name correct, or TC Porsche could find himself getting beat out by another Gangplank.
Yeah, we will have to see, because, like, while yes, TC Porsche, he might know how to play against the Gangplank, but we brought it up earlier how he hasn't really played any other champions besides the Gangplank for the past several years. And sure, knowing how to play against it is one thing, but you also have to know how to play the thing that counters said champion. So if he's not able to perform on this Aatrox, that could be a very, very huge issue for the side of Rise Black, because if your top laner can only play one champion well and any other champion he plays is kind of it's not usually the best sign.
It's not. And looking at that, you could see some very interesting things. This could be a very explosive top lane, especially if Gangplank gets ahead. But you were talking about the bot lane. We have to talk about the fact that there has been a discussion that a lot of players in professional/amateur have talked about a lot, and that is the value of plates versus the Drakes. And you do see a lot more teams tend to put a lot more focus around the bottom side, because of the fact that it's easier to move around, get those plates, to get those Drakes. How are you feeling when we're looking at this bottom side, right? Are we looking at a 3v3 scenario, or are we looking at these junglers putting their attention elsewhere?
I mean, when you have Rek'Sai and Elise, they can definitely just go for those 3v3s early on. So I do think there is going to be a ton of action in the bot lane early on, because since, I mean, Braum can set up ganks decently well, so can Senna. But then, of course, you always have Rakan, who can set up ganks so well with that Grand Entrance. It will kind of depend on how the junglers want to path, because each jungler, they do have options for how they want to gank. Because, I mean, we mentioned earlier, Stone Whipping on the Rek'Sai, he can kind of go to any lane he really wants to and get kills. And the same kind of applies to Jungle Elysium here. All the lanes are able to get kills, so just going in and helping out. Because the only lane here on the side of, oh lord, Rise Black that can't really get kills would be that bot lane, since Senna, not really known for a DPS or strong burst, much more so on the side of utility. Still though, I mean, if you throw an Elise in the mix with Senna and Braum, it's more than easy enough to get kills.
I 100% agree. And you want to go for, there's something that will make it a ton bit easier to get kills. And do you know what that is?
Could it be a new fantastic keyboard?
My God, how did you know? That's what I'm talking about, man. And you know where you can get said fantastic keyboard? That's right, go for it. That is Kono.store. Let me tell you about the finest place to be able to get all the finest mechanical keyboards of your needs. You can do the clickety clackety, the clackety clickety, and you'll be able to just be able to kill your opponents with ease. You've never hit a R key that feels so satisfying until you use a Kono keyboard. Be sure to check out their website today. They have some great selection. There is a keyboard made specifically for you. You look at it, your heart throbs, you go, oh, I'm a little lightheaded. This is just too much for me to be able to process. Be sure to check them on out. They are great. They have been phenomenal. I have been able to clickety clack with them for a good bit of time here, and they have always just been fantastic and the highest quality of mechanical keyboards. So that being said, remember Kono, that's Kono.store, to be able to get yourself a keyboard that fits you just right. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take ourselves a short break. When we come back, we will be continuing on with the very first day of the very first week of UPL. So be sure not to go anywhere.
So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back. We are going into game one here of the very first week of UPL. I'm Travis D. I'm joined here by GoFuino, and we are already seeing the line of scrimmage being drawn.
Oh boy, no one enjoys a level 1 like a 5-man fan. Thrilling experience. But what is thrilling here is something you wanted to talk about, aka a very specific rune on Elysium's Elise.
Yes. I I was about to actually, I pointed it out when we were loading in. I was just like, wait a second, this guy's Dark Harvest. And then it sprung into my mind. This guy is a Shaco player. This guy is going to be looking to gank kink a certain lane and just be abusive. So I think you and me are both going to be keeping our eyes on where the tent may be pinched at.
Yeah, or if he just wants to do around the world in 80 days and gank every lane, that is an option too, because why get 1 lane ahead when you can get 3 ahead?
Yeah, you don't need a hot air balloon, right? Like you could just go down the river, right? It's just as easy as that. Don't tell some junglers that. They will be confused if you try and tell them that. But we do see both of these junglers actually go for the standard start, by the way. Go with the yellow trinket, put a ward down, and then immediately back and get a sweeping.
Yeah, nothing too big there. Although Stone Whippin is starting on the top side at that blue, so if he wants to, that could be a very easy a very easy path down to the spot lane, and get that ahead. We were talking about that in Champ Selective. Hey, maybe we just see junglers piling bot. Try and get those early dragons. The first dragon though is an Ocean. It would be nice to have, but it's not explosive like in Infernal. So we will have to see.
Yeah, it'll be a great thing for them to actually end up going ahead and grabbing for themselves. It does draw into the question of how do they end up going for this, because one of the big things I think you and me didn't really touch on too terribly much is the mid game difference that is between these two teams and the early game difference. I feel like Rise definitely has to take some time to scale on up, and so does Senna, really and truly.
For sure, yeah, just with the whole soul mechanic and just needing time to build up that and get your items, get your mana stacked. I mean, thankfully though, for Senna, she can still always provide utility. I mean, heals are always heals, and in AoE, team semi-invisibility, quote unquote. I don't know exactly what it's called. It's kind of like invisibility. They turn into raids.
It's camouflage. It's under the camouflage mechanic when they
it's technically
when they go into it. Yeah, it goes under as a camouflage. Fun facts about Senna. Very interesting champion. As undefeated one, getting jumped onto. Lots of damage being put back onto him. This is exactly what we'd expect to see from an Aatrox, but you see, undefeated one is not afraid of TC at all.
Yeah, just walking up, getting the free grass proc on this gangplank, just get all that free health he wants to, and that free extra bit of sustain to get through the lane. That is always good for the gangplank.
Yeah, always nice, always nice. Promethean doing a good job trading on the Diana here. Not a lot of melee matchups enjoy dealing with a Rise, that's for sure. And you see Elisa's first stop is not going to be one that she'll be able to get to. All of her lanes are kind of pushed in, but here comes Rek'Sai down into the bot lane, looking for the gank. It's going to be able to get the burrow, gets the knockup on the Justin, just a little bit of damage being put back onto the Senna. Is going to be able to heal that one back up.
Yeah, it did cost both summoners, though, from Plucks on the Rakan, however. So technically, Rise, they're the ones who come out on top in terms of summoners, although a Senna without Flash is very vulnerable, even with the E-Mist. I mean, you can still be hit by quite a lot, and it's very easy to actually hit Senna in the mist because you always know where she is. She's always in the center, so easy always line up a Grand Entrance or even on Barrow.
I also like to think about Rek'Sai because Rek'Sai has so many unique gank patterns. So when she ganks like that, especially on the first gank, it puts in your head that this jungler is going to come from this weird direction. And definitely starts making you look other places. So I like the fact that the first gank we do see from Stone is a gank that came up from behind like that in such a unique way.
Yeah, now that you say it, I kind of want to see a Rek'Sai make use of the alcoves with all the possibilities with the tunnels, because, I mean, you can fly over that wall too with the tunnel. I mean, we might not see it this game, but it's a cool thought, a what-if situation.
Yeah, you get to see it with some champions like the Rek'Sai, other champions that have unique gank patterns like Kayn, Zac, all champions that make really good use of the Cove to add as another potential avenue of ganks. As we are going into the 5-minute mark here, and at least not being able to find that potential gank that possibly could be looking for is iStupid is out of mana. I feel really weird saying that name. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, because it kind of feels like saying you yourself are stupid, which...
Yeah, and I can't call him stupid because then I'm just insulting him.
We're big brain. But we do have a bit of a lane gank being set up here by Asylum on this Elise. Justin, though, is spotted on that word, so...
Yeah, they do know that... Yeah, I was about to say, something's up I feel like no player out there at this level is going to fall for something like that. Why would a Braum just stand there and no vision on the Senna? The Jungle Asylum is over here in the area. They're going to go for a knockup, get cocooned immediately. Lots of damage being put back on the Plutz, but it is going to be him getting up out of there as Rakan is so freaking safe. Stones here in the area, hits him with the Prey Seeker, tells him back on off.
Nothing too much coming out of that gank, although if you do look at the jungler CS counts, a lot of the time Asylum spent in that bot lane, Stone Weapon was actually CSing some camps for himself, so currently at an 11 CS lead. That's about 2-ish camps, 3-ish camps. It can be a little weird sometimes, but small advantage technically edged out by a Whippin.
I'm liking it so far. Stone doing a fantastic job for himself inside of this, and getting this first Ocean Trick would definitely be a very big thing, so you can see him kind of posturing around this bot side as Ocean Trick is almost just like winning the lane for your laners.
Yeah, especially with the new Ocean Dragon, because the old Ocean Dragon, it was good, but a little bit of an all-in in the bot lane.
Yeah, they're looking to do some damage, but it's going to be Rek'Sai getting dropped down so very low. The artillery comes on in. Stone trying to see if he'll be able to kill out Jungle. Oh, one more auto. He could have autoed one more time, but here comes I Stupid. Going to be able to get him with that blade and going to be able to pop him. That's a 1-for-1 trade. Go on in that game.
So interestingly, we're talking about the junglers being bloodthirsty and constantly ganking, but First Blood is actually a duel between the two junglers, and Stone Weapon coming out on the bad end of that, sadly, just by a pinch, because one more auto from him would have killed Asylum's Elise, but the little spider auto, the, what does she throw you with her human form autos, actually? It's like a bit of cocoon?
Just a little bit of venom, I guess. I'm going to say spider spit. I think that's the canon thing. Is spider.
She just spits in her hands and just throws it.
Yes, just flicks it on you, man. So that sounds like something that Elise would do. That sounds like something Elise would do.
I'm down for that as a canon.
Yeah. That's a canon explanation right there. The lore is there. It's been written on this day.
I mean, Riot does change the lore a lot, so you never know. Interesting, though. Talk about changes. Changes. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Stupid's looking to jump on in here. Promethean dropped down so very low, but here comes the cocoon. He's going to find himself getting put in a dangerous situation. He's still looking for more. He gets his solo kill, but it's going to be Jungle Asylum looking to lock him on away, but the rest of his team is here to keep him at bay. And that is going to be one kill that goes over to iStupid for free.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things about Diana after a mini rework. I mean, sure, this is post 6, but the fact she can now dash onto with the Lunar Dash pre-6 is absolutely massive, because previously Diana didn't really have much, wasn't much of a champion pre-6, but now she can just do so much more. But it is going to be a trade of objectives. The Rift Herald is spotted out, but I don't think Undefeated One can really do anything about this. He does have iStupid on the side. Here comes the cavalry, actually.
Here comes Stone. Stone's going to be over here. They're looking to jump onto Jungle Asylum. They're going to be able to get it. That's going to be a kill that goes on over. Is it going to be worth? TC is going to find himself in the World Ender. He got charmed up, so he's not going to be able to lay out the damage that he wants to here. And it's just going to be them looking to back it on up. Undefeated One trying to kite this one on out. But it is just going to be them going to be able to get one. Can they get the second kill for themselves here? The Stone's going to find himself in a tricky situation. Promethean takes that kill for himself. And that is going to be a lot of bloodshed all over a Herald that they were not able to secure. It does go in the pocket of TC Porsche.
Yeah. He's
kills. He's going to call it out right here.
Oh, there we go. And the Rift Herald being popped. But keep in mind, during this in the bot lane, Asilion was getting a ton of solo time farming. Just look at the CS differential between these two AD carries. Nearly 3 entire waves and a solo player for this Saya for Asilion. So that is going to be a little bit of a decent advantage, because all Sanctus got out of that top play was an assist for himself. He definitely did help his team get the Rift Herald, but he is going to be feeling it in the gold department a little.
Yeah, and I do want to go ahead and talk about the items that we have seen already, because we're hitting the 10-minute mark, and first bit of items that you get here are very big telling tales. And I want to point attention to the boots, because I am a person that's a big fan of fashion and whatnot, and you can tell that Diana and Rakan, they got the shoes on. They know exactly what they want to do here. They bought Merc Treads and Moby Boots as their first item. Very important things to take note of, especially with the past couple fights that we've been.
Yeah, I mean, the Merc trades for Diana just makes so much sense for Ice Stupid, because he's already going to be doing plenty of damage thanks to the Conqueror, thanks to all his base damage. Just having the Merc trades to deal with the slow slash root from Barmathian's Rune Prison, not to mention the Cocoon from Asylum, it is going to help out at times. Not to mention the extra magic resist, since, I mean, Barmathian, he is the range character. Oh, gonna miss the Crescent Strike, so not going to get the reset on that. But as I was saying, just having that extra bit of magic resist to constantly reduce all the...
Oh, here we go. They're looking for him. They knock him up. They put him down, and Stone gets himself a kill in that gank in the mid lane. And you're seeing those Mopey Boots coming in fast on this Rakan.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it lets you get over the map pretty quickly. I mean, because Rakan actually is pretty... Oh, speaking of speed, here's the world ender.
More. Here come Undefeated One. Not going to find himself getting caught. Is going to pop a barrel to get that movement speed. Looking to try and dodge this Elise over here in the top side. Jungle Asylum. Just going to jump into him in spider form. And beautiful bit of BM coming out from Undefeated One. He said, throw your cocoon. I got an orange for it.
Yep. As in the bot lane, nothing too much going to be happening. I just directed cam, thinking it's interesting to see a plate being taken.
Yeah. I gotta say, I understand why the Braum went for the ninja tabbies here, but you can tell he's not going to be able to match this Rakan whenever he roams like this, especially because look at Xayah. Xayah's just pushing these waves so easily.
Yeah, because Xayah has fairly strong wave clear. Senna, not so much. Sure, you have the Piercing Darkness, but that is on a bit of a cooldown early on. Not to mention with her low attack speed, it's not like she can match in terms of autos against this Xayah. Because, I mean, a lot of the ways you push as an AD carry is just auto the minions more than your opponent. And when your opponent has a fixed attack speed of like 0.7 and you have like 1.0 attack speed, it's pretty noticeable.
I also want to talk about the fact that we can notice how much respect is paid here by this bot lane. You saw that everybody went Mia on their side for Horizon, and they're looking for another dive. They are just looking. They don't care about your towers. They are just going for aggressive play after aggressive play here from Horizon.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if they can pull off the dives, maybe they can represent US in the 2020 Olympics.
Oh, well, they're looking for more here. Stone is going to be able to get another knock up, and the damage comes on in. And Stone is just finding free ganks in the mid lane with I Stupid in the helm.
A 3, 2, and 2 Rek'Sai and a 2, 0, and 4 Diana. 13 minutes in. Sure, it's not a completely unstoppable snowball, but you gotta be very concerned here on the side of Rise Esports, because those are very scary characters if they snowball, and they are starting to snowball a little.
And we can't even just ignore the fact that it's not even just the scaling aspect of the mid and jungle that's coming out from Horizon. It's also Barmathian being put further and further behind. A champion that does need time to scale, more time to get items. And putting him further behind means they're delaying whatever Rise is going to be looking to do.
Yeah, for sure. Because he hasn't even finished his first item yet. It does cost more to finish that Seraphs than it does to finish the Proto Belt. But that does mean that it's also going to be the second dragon of the game here, picked up by the side. Picked up by the side of Horizon, and looks like our soul this game is going to be mounted as a Luna Rush in the mid lane.
Yep, does for the Luna Rush. Doesn't have the Moonfall up available, so isn't going to go for anything too crazy here. But we're going to have a little bit of action down here in the bot lane. Glacial Fisher's going to be able to come on out. That's going to be their artillery. Is they're going to be able to get the charm onto Justine. Is Stone Whipping still looking for something to possibly come on out, but it's going to be Senna. Go ahead and firing out that Dawning Shadow to make sure her team stays tip-top in the HP department, as it's just going to be a 0 for 0 there. Nothing to be traded.
Yep, nothing to be traded except for ultimates and except for some summoners, but that's first tower being picked up in the mid lane here for I Stupid, and that was all solo plates, if I'm not mistaken, or Stone Whipping may have been there for 1 or 2 of them. I'm not entirely sure, but still, that is a lot of extra gold on this Diana, and who's already snowballing. If you take a look at the gold totals, 7,000 gold currently on I Stupid. Barmathian, he's currently sitting on about 4.8k. That is a massive difference for this point in the game.
100% agree on that, especially when you look at the lead is sitting at this amount. Oh, well, goodbye, Jungle Asylum. We barely knew ye, as we just found that I Stupid, not a fan of spiders.
Yeah, just, you know, gotta squash the bug, I guess.
Yeah, hit him with that bug splat.
1-3 on this Elise for Asylum. He had a good start off with that solo kill onto Stone Whipping, but hasn't been able to find success since then, sadly.
And that's going to be another Rift Herald, by the way, that was taken care of over in the top lane. First Rift Herald, known as Shelly. The other one, Herald. It's canon. Nobody can tell me otherwise. As Herald has been picked up over on the top side. And question will be, how does this Rex side decide to use it as Stone? Really has been putting on the pressure, and there's no more outer towers to seize.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because there isn't going to be a dragon coming up, so you can't just plop it in a lane and force someone to go there. You're going to want to do coordinated effort. So my guess would be Stone Weapon is going to look for a gank or dive in one lane. Once that happens, once it succeeds, then you just plop down the Herald and get yourself a tower.
And I love the fact that the way that this team is getting together vision, right? We got to talk about how Horizon is really making sure that they have their win conditions in their horizon, right? Making sure that they have these sight lines and making sure that they are going to be able to catch them out if they step in the wrong place. I really am a big fan of the way that they're making these rotations.
For sure. And I mean, they also have the gold lead to play with it as well, being 6k ahead, which is a rather comfortable amount. So if they roam as a 3, 4, or even 5-man death squad, I mean, it's going to be very hard for the side of Rise Esports to match that.
Yeah, they kind of need that time to kind of get their options building up, to get some of these scaling going, to get some more of these items going. A lot of these champions do depend on getting a couple core items for themselves. Aatrox actually hasn't been able to get any core items for himself yet, has opted for a 20% cooldown reduction start to just try and make sure he'll be able to still have some use as they go into this mid game.
Yeah, which is nice and all, but it also means he doesn't have a full item right now, which is very terrible. If you look at the other side, Undefeated One on the Gangplank has a Triforce, has the BF sword, and even a longsword to boot. And I mean, just thanks to the general lead his team has, thanks to the parlay gold, thanks to tower gold, there is 1,500 gold sitting between these two top laners, and that is definitely a noticeable amount, especially when you don't have a full item, because you're just missing out on so many stats compared to your opponent. Sure, TC Porsche, he does have a 20% CDR like you mentioned, but he doesn't have the Cleaver Armor Pen, he doesn't have Death Stance Sustain, so it is going to really hurt him.
It really is. You don't have that itemization. The full completed item is such a big deal, and sometimes getting that cooldown reduction is a great way to get yourself back into the game. But right now, it does not feel like that time is kind of having a little bit of a struggling time here. It does have almost 1,700 gold in the pocket, so on the net's back, we should be able to see him get some itemization for himself. But look at this. It just nowhere is safe for the side of Rise.
Yeah, I mean, not even able to get their own blue buff. They're chased off of that and just forced out of their own jungle. That is one of the worst feelings as a jungler when you fall behind, because your jungle's not your jungle anymore. You're not going to be able to get the creeps. The enemies will always take the creeps. Your laners will likely take a lot of the creeps from your jungle if they are up, because they need money too. So you're just kind of stuck there with generating no money from farm, and that kind of sucks.
And here we go. They're looking for a catch here. Rune Prison is on TSM Plus. He's going to be able to get out of harm's way. As you can see, they tried to kind of do a little bit of a force here. And is this going to be a Mountain Drake that they're going to be able to secure for themselves here? As Diana already started that one on up, and it is gone.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't able to contest it because they're busy trying to save that mid tower, which, sure, they saved it, but it took a hefty amount of damage, and, I mean, they still lost the dragon there. Only one more dragon needed to be picked up here by the side of Horizon to get that soul.
I'm a big fan of this Herald usage, actually. Look at this. They are making them make a decision here. Save mid, save top, save bot. You can't save them all. And you can see they're kind of floundering around trying to figure out what the best option to go to is.
Thing is, kind of feel like there is no best option, as the Realm Warp's used by Barmethian to come into this top lane just to save the tower, and that's not what you want to be seeing here for the side of Rise, because, I mean, you want to be using that Realm Warp to really generate the tempo, not answer a push in the top lane, or even use it to set up team fights. But alas, that is kind of the state of the game right now, and sure, we haven't seen any kills for like the past 7-ish minutes, but we have just seen the gold lead steadily grow and grow, the objective lead steadily grow and grow for the side of Horizon here. And sure, there's the scaling, like you mentioned, on the side of Rise, but when every member is down 1,000, 2,000, or even like 2,500 gold on their respective opponent, that scaling isn't going to really matter when you do finally hit those item points, because your opponent's just going to be so much further ahead of you.
It's also this composition that we do see from Horizon. They've drafted themselves a composition where they do get ahead in this early to mid game. I feel like they have just been able to be the proactive team. They have a composition that's built around being the proactive ones to start everything, to really make the macro calls. We're really seeing that come to light here as their draft really focused on their individual strengths. And then they said, all right, we'll pull that together with our macro knowledge to make this all work.
And, I mean, it is past 20, so both these teams are going to be looking at the Baron, but one of these teams has a very solid lead right now. One of these teams also has the vision lead in the pit, so... Oh, team fight?
Could be a possible fight to come on out here. Cocoon does land on the ice. Stupid. Gonna find himself caught in a bad spot. Glacial Fissure does come on in. He's gonna push the rest of Horizon on away out of this. Artillery Strike did lay out a good amount of chip damage. Stone gonna be able to flash on forward. Looks for the burrow to try and get the kill. The World Ender's gonna be used. It's gonna be the Rakan that's gonna be going in very deep, but he's gonna find himself gone. TC Porsche is now gonna be able to get a kill for himself. They're still going further forward. I Stupid gets one. He gets two. It is going to be the side of Horizon just picking up kill after kill there on the back end of that, and they still have the advantage. They're going for the tower. They're looking for Barmithian, but Barmithian's looking to turn it on around. He goes ahead, gets himself out of that tricky spot. He'll had to be used. The Stone still looking to possibly jump onto Barmithian. Barmithian's going to find himself getting the shutdown. Cocoon's going to be able to land, but it's going to be Asilian going to be able to pick that kill on up for himself. And that is going to be 2 members of Horizon going down at the cost of 3 of Rise.
Yeah, not to mention, they did also break that mid inhibitor tower, but thankfully for the side of Rise, his Barmithian on the Rise was able to take down Stone Whippin's Rek'Sai, so that is going to at least stop the Baron attempt for a while here. Just make sure they can't convert that play into Baron, which would most assuredly be a game over for the side of Rise Esports.
110%. They're keeping their eye on the win conditions still for themselves, which I really like that. They're saying, all right, listen, we do have scaling in our pocket. We do have a lot of different options. We're starting to get some of our items on board. So they definitely have not given up, even though there is a huge goal disparity between the two.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because it's only 23 minutes into the game. You can still try and make something happen, and might as well. It is still game number 1, so... Hey, throw everything, including the kitchen sink. If that doesn't work out, there's always game number 2.
Well, I like the fact that you talk about it being game number 1 too, because it's also game 1. Even if you find yourself in a bad situation, you learn so much more about your opponent, and you can take that into a longer series, right? If you're looking to take this into a full 3 games, you gotta take that moment to adapt and learn. Billion find himself in a possible tricky spot, not gonna find himself getting caught on out here, but he's going to find himself having to back it on up from here. Jungle Asylum taking a ton of damage here. Blutt's looking for something possibly. He's going to find the repel to get himself on out of there. But that's going to be a barrel combo. Undefeated one. Picks himself up a double kill with artillery and barrels in tow. And Undefeated one has just silently become a monster to deal with.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at that play, both solo laners for the side of Rise Esports were in the the side lanes, so they weren't able to respond to that, and that was absolutely shredding there, because Lucian, we saw him go in. This is a 2.5 item Zaya with a lot of money to spare on this back, and he was just absolutely shredding through these members who haven't built up any armor at all for the most part. And that is going to be the Mountain Soul too, going over to Horizon.
I was about to say, this is a Mountain Soul. The Mountain Drakes might not have much benefit with the amount of squishiness in between these 2 teams, but you know what? They take that Mountain Soul gladly, and that etched a little bit of a shield. It's going to make it that much harder for the side of Rise to find their way back into this game.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, even though they are squishy, they are still getting some resist from it at least. Like, it will matter in some situations. But
there we go. Cocoon not going to land. Going to be able to pop that barrel. And undefeated one, you might want to be careful with how you BM, buddy. There is the rest of the team here. Barrel popping, going to be able to lay out a good amount of damage. Stone's going to be finding himself getting caught off on the side. Blitz is going to be able to, but it is going to be the Diana that's going to be unstoppable. That's one that's going to be picked on up. That's going to be Stone picking up the kill on the Promethean, as Zaya is going to be able to pick up one for himself as Porsche. They've thought that they caught out undefeated one, but undefeated one is the ungankable because his team is in tow, and he is still continuing the chase. He is still looking for more. He said, fight me if you dare. It's just going to be Rise looking to retreat, and Stone still over here in the wings. Undefeated one still chasing him down as the rest of the team looks to end the game over here in the mid lane. And this is going to be game one that's going to go in favor of Horizon.
And in a very convincing sense, too. They didn't even need the Baron to end this. They just clinically and surgically played the map once they got a lead in. We're going to have some more blood here.
Yeah, they're looking for it. That's going to be it. That's going to be another kill. Patting that KDA for Asilion. Did not die inside that game. 3-0-5 at the final scoreline for that Zaya. Also, the Gangplank and Diana never dying inside of that game. Very big members inside of their team. Horizon really giving us a huge performance here to start off their UPL season.
Yeah, for sure. That is one hell of a game number one for the start of a UPL season. And I mean, if they continue that for the rest of the season, hey, they're going to be doing pretty well for themselves. But there is still a game number 2 here for the side of Rise Esports, where they can just go over what went wrong last game. What do we need to change up this game? And one important thing for going into game number 2 is that since Rise is going to get the first pick, they might be able to nab the Gangplank for themselves. So we will have to see.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you look at the Gangplank inside of that, did actually the most damage inside that game, which is absolutely disgusting because he took that champion away from the person who plays so much Gangplank. 12.2k damage, right? The next closest person was the Diana at 11.5. That's a huge amount of damage that actually came out from both of these solo laners. And I think your priorities are actually going to be how do you adapt to these, because you look at those stats alone and that enough should put a little bit of a chill in your spine, because they were very much so central players to a lot of what happened. And that's not even including the Rakan roams that were coming out here. I think there's a lot of adaptation and a lot of data that they can take away from this to make this Nets game a very, very competitive one for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even looking at the stats, it kind of shows just how macro heavy this game was for the side of Horizon. Like, because 12.2k damage, it's the highest in the game, but that's usually not the highest you see. Usually you'll see it somewhat higher, but it kind of just goes to show how hard they played the map here. So, I mean, props to them.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it earlier, man. Like, this is a composition that they drafted that absolutely reminded me of like a much more solo queue-ish draft, where it's like, all right, every laner, don't think about the team dynamic. Think about what's going to be strong for your individual self, and then we'll let you just take the knowledge that you already have and use that. And this was not a bloody game by any means, but it definitely was a game that was very smartly played out by Horizon, where they got their leads and they said, all right, we are the proactive players here with these strong champions. What do? Do you run into us and just make the game go faster, or do you let us slowly bleed you out?
For sure. But with that being said, though, we are going to have to cut it to a break now. But don't go anywhere, because game 2 will be coming up here in just a minute.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to Upsurge. It's the UPL. We are going to be going into game 2 here in a very short minute. But you and me, go for my boy. We got to take some time reflecting, figuring out exactly what we can do, and putting that into what this next game could possibly be. Because we saw a very, very interesting draft from both sides in that last game. And now, with the sides flipped, we could see the shoe be put onto the other foot.
We will have to see, because like we kind of mentioned last game, now that Rise Esports is on the blue side this game, that is going to give them some more playing room in the draft for their solo laners, because we did kind of see some bans come out against them last game, and TC Porsche on the Aatrox, he wasn't terrible, but he did impress, not going to lie. So we'll have to see this game, but it also kind of begs to ask, does that mean Horizon just bans away the Gangplank this game?
Yeah, they could. They could absolutely do that, or they could take their chance at some wares. Who knows what their answer is going to be? We'll find out very shortly when we go into the draft. But looking at everything else that could possibly go on too, I do want to put up an interesting statistic. Fun fact with Travi, every single UPL victory so far here tonight has, inside of Upsurge actually as a whole, which, if you guys don't know, we have UCL over on Mondays. So Upsurge as a whole, Monday and today, victories have been on blue side. Every single stream game has been a blue side victory. So if the formula continues, right, Rise is now on the blue side. So they could possibly get a win here and then hope to break the streak in the third game. As they go back over to red side. But it's actually very interesting that every single stream game has actually found themselves with wins over on the blue side so far. And it does draw into an interesting thing, because I think the statistic in solo queue was we actually saw the percentage of red side wins actually go up above blue side for the first time in forever. So yeah, very interesting to keep our eyes on as we're going into this next game.
Yeah, we will have to see. There is a chance we flip the script on its head, though, because plot twists, they do happen.
Yeah, they do. They do. They happen at the weirdest of times and sometimes the most fortunate times. But we are in bans already. Rise Black going to go ahead and start this off with the MF ban. As Shaco still not going to find some playtime for Jungle Asylum. Not letting him have his favorite champ.
Yeah, because, he played a lot of Shaco games last year. I forget exactly how many, but I want to say it was at least 300 total. And you know what? If someone has 300 games on a champion, maybe you ought to consider banning it. Who knows?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that one. We do have a Yuumi player in here that last season had like over 400 games on Yuumi. So interesting thing to take a note of there. As over on Horizon, if you have a Yuumi player, and just blew my mind, 60% win rate on that with playing nothing but the Yuumi.
Yeah, for like 500 games too.
Yeah, so that's nutty.
It was a different story last season because Yuumi was more stronger, and Yuumi's in a bit of a slump right now. Mm-hmm. Although, in tomorrow's patch, Yuumi is going to be getting some quality of life buffs, so maybe we will see the return of Plex. But today's not tomorrow, so...
Today is not tomorrow. Wise man once said, and the Syndra that was previously banned in the last game is going to find itself being first pick this time around as Rise Black go ahead and scoop that one on up.
Yeah, we will have to see, because, this was a pick that was catching our eyes here from the side of Rise Black from Sanctus, because, yeah, he plays all the typical ADCs, but he's also been playing some Syndra, and that has a little bit of spice in the bot lane. Sure, we've seen Syndra in the bot before, not as much in Season 10, though. It was much more of a hyped up pick for Worlds, but didn't really pan out. But hey, we'll have to see if Rise Black is able to make it work this time. One important thing to note, though, is that Rise Black, when Sanctus does play the Syndra bot, he typically has his support play Pyke, and that is a lot of kill pressure between the Syndra Unleashed Power and, of course, the Pyke ultimate. But against Desire, who does have the Feather Storm at Athene vulnerability, might be a little tricky to get that burst off.
Yeah, might see them opt for a Thresh or something like that to give them a little bit more utility instead of focusing on the execution that Pyke's able to give. I would like the Pike still, just because of the mobility. I would like to see him matching the Rakan a little bit more, because we got to see Rakan just be unhinged in the last game. But Lee Sin is going to be picked up. This is his second most played jungler, actually his most played inside of this current season. So Jungle Asylum going to be looking to show us what he's made out of on this Lee Sin, as they have one more pick left for them to go ahead and lock in for themselves. Could pick themselves up a AD carry, a support, or something else. I personally would like to see a support get locked in here.
Yeah, if they are going to lock in an AD carry, they're probably going to save it for the second phase, just to keep Syndra as a potential flex pick then. Because you don't know. Syndra could go to the mid lane, Syndra could go to the bot lane. And speaking of flex picks, we do have the Pantheon picked up here for Rise Black.
Yes.
Might be going top, might be going mid. A lot of flexing potential here.
There's actually a ton of potential for the Pantheon too, because top, mid, we're not going to see a Lee Sin in a solo lane, so not going to be in the jungle. But we could also see him in the bot lane. More specifically, we've actually seen a Rise the Pantheon in the support role as well. But the Ornn that's being picked up here is completely saying, all right, bring in the Pantheon. I am just going to drool all over you. That is what Ornn does best. It's whatever aggressive attempts you're going to do, you're covered in slobber now, man. Sorry, get out of here.
Yeah, because Ornn is the best top laner tank in the game right now, if I'm not mistaken. And Pantheon, he does tend to fall off. So, and of course, Ornn does have the Forge Maker passive where he just gets a bonus 10% to all resists from items. So, it's going to be a big deal, and it's going to be very hard to kill this Ornn as the game goes on here. For TC Porsche, I assume, is going to be getting this Pantheon. We will have to see, though. There's still potential. But being taken off the table was that Diana pick, which was very crucial because we saw how hard iStupid popped off on that. She had a little bit of trouble, levels 1 to 3 in the laning phase, just eating up a lot of her ass, had to run out of mana, had to back, but once he got the Merc Treads, then he was able to solo kill Barmethian's Rise pretty easily.
Yeah, and I do like this, picking up the Rek'Sai after pinching down the support pool, took away all of the tanky picks besides the Thresh / Nautilus, and Nautilus of course being the most notorious of that. After that, you don't really have much in the way of tank options besides like a Thresh, which still has to itemize to get to being a little bit tanky. But the Pike, you called it, man. There is the Pike to get locked on in, and it is a Mordekaiser. Come out.
This is a lot of damage coming out from Rise Black's competition. I'm gonna be honest with you, Travesty, because I mean, Pike, you're playing him to get kills. Let's be honest. You don't play him as a peel support. You don't play him as some utility poke mage. No, he's Mr. Killy McKilly in the support role. So, the Syndra and Pike combo, they are going to have to get rolling in the laning phase, because Asilion on the Xayah is going to hard outscale. Because we saw what he could do last game with just 2.5 items.
And I gotta say, I like this Echo pickup here, because you're either going against a Pantheon or a Mordekaiser. And you know what? Let's assassin via assassin it here, or you can go up against a Juggernaut and try and just dodge around all of his abilities. It'll be a very important thing to take note of. There is a lot of utility that actually comes out here to go alongside with the damage. One of my favorite things, you were talking about the Pike, you don't play him to support really and truly. You're here to lay out the ultimate CC, which is death, right? You're trying to kill whoever you possibly can. One of my favorite things to actually do is when you E and actually use the death from below as a gap closer to make sure that you get that stun on a big portion of the team. That's a little mechanic that a lot of players out here would be able to use and really be able to abuse certain things, especially since Horizon does have a composition where they kind of get right up next to each other.
Yeah, but at the same time, you look at the Rek'Sai, you look at the Ornn, you look at the Echo, these aren't champions that go down all too easily. I mean, yeah, sure, Echo will probably be building full AP here for iStupid, but he still has a bit of tenacity thanks to his decent natural magic resist growth. Not to mention, I mean, he always has the parallel convergence to just eat himself out of any potentially bad situation. So it might be hard for Rise Black here. We will have to see, though.
Yeah, it could definitely be a possibility. You have a lot of different options to go out here for Rise Black, and this is do or die, so I like the fact that they are going for some options to really just push everything straight up against the wall. One of the big things that they faltered in the last game was neutral objective control. Something we got to talk about. They got 0 Drakes inside that last game, and I believe they only got 1 turret by the end of the game. So this team composition doesn't have anybody to really siege with. We got to really see how they fight around these neutral objectives this time around, as it kind of really just gave them up.
I mean, Rise Black, they aren't looking to macro for objectives. They're looking to kill a bunch of people, then take objectives. Because getting objectives are very easy when you just kill the enemy team. You don't need a strong macro to know, hey, there's 4 or 5 dead enemies. Why don't I grab Baron or something? I mean, anyone can do that. So, and Rise Black's composition, it can do that pretty well. They got a lot of killing power, so hey, you take out the key targets, you grab yourself an objective, and that might help them patch up that macro issue they did have last game. Not to mention, Pantheon with the ultimate is able to just fly into wherever and have that insane ability. I mean, sure, so does Rise with the Realm Warp, but Realm Warp is nowhere near as long ranged as the Pantheon ultimate, so a lot more potential in this Pantheon.
His Pantheon, I like the fact that it is in the mid lane, like you were talking about too, just because it does have a little bit more impact on these side lanes too. I really want to see Jungle Asylum and Barmithian be unlocked here. I want to see these two roam together and, like you were talking about, get those kills that lead them to be able to secure turret plates, to be able to secure drakes and whatnot. I want to see them actually kind of unlock these side lanes and empower their team through that way. But it's going to be definitely a very interesting team to take note of. It's a story to take note of, because you don't want to be the team that goes on down here in early bits, and they want to go ahead and try and clean this on up and bring this to a game 3. But go for man. It is definitely looking like it's going to be a very, very exciting game. But you know someone else that's also super exciting?
No, I'm a very boring person, so I don't know excitement.
Well, let me tell you about how to clean up your boring life, go for
Oh, baby.
Let me tell you about Midwest Esports. That's right, baby. It is a organization that's been around for many years. They started as a small student group at Wichita State University. Since then, Midwest Esports has grown to be a veteran organizer for tournaments and events throughout the U.S. They host tournaments for games like League of Legends, Rocket League, as well as Overwatch. If you guys do want more information, be sure to check them out at MidwestEsports.com. They host a lot of great stuff inside of the Midwest. I always say, try to support whoever is out there making events like this happen. Like whenever you see like organizers out there, try to support them as much as possible, because they are what the lifeblood of the stream. So be sure, please give them a look, see, check them on out. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll give you just enough time, to be able to check out MidwestEsports.com. When we're back, we'll be going into game 2 as Horizon is sitting at match point. Be sure not to touch that browser. ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back. We are in game 2 as Horizon is on match point here. And this is definitely do or die for Rise. They want to bring this up, make this into a series. I'm Travis D. I'm joined here with Gofarino and seeing a little bit of a different stat coming out here this time around. Shameful. And he doesn't have the trinket to be able to clear it. Shameful.
Disgusting.
Should have flashed for the ward, honestly.
Yeah. You know what? It's the difference between good players and great players, travesty.
Yeah.
Some know how to use flash to get a word. Some don't. That being said, though, I mean, it could have been spicy with that little 3-man strat there, but it was spotted out, so we're back to the fan, which I'm not a fan of.
I do want to talk about the fact that we do have a mage versus AD carry bottom. We do see a bunch of differences. There's some pros and cons that come with running a mage in the bot lane. Is the pro going to be able to outweigh some of the issues that they had inside of the last game?
I mean, we'll have to see, because bot lane, it wasn't a huge difference last game. It was just a general pile up of objective leads, and then Celion just getting so much solo time to farm for himself. But if you look in the bot lane, Celion and Plex have already just popped out, not even leashing for Stone Weapon or pretending to do so. So they are going to hit level 2 first on the Zyrecon combo, which can be deadly, because Pyke does have the strongest level 2 in the game out of all supports, I want to say.
It's pretty strong. I'll give you that. That's for freaking sure. That Bone Skewer combined with the CC that he's able to bring is always a very, very nutty. And you see Jungle Asylum looking for something possibly there, but beautiful dash out by Stupid.
That is what you were saying you wanted to see, though, more action between Asylum and Barmethian, because the Pantheon, you're looking to dominate early. With the Lee Sin, you're looking to dominate. Ooh, the stun lands in the bot lane.
Yeah, they're looking for more. Do not get the stun to follow up on TSM Plutz, but is going to back him on up, and that's going to be a-okay for them. Now, with this going on, the Mordekaiser into the Ornn matchup here. You see the Mordekaiser laying out some pain onto this Ornn, as it is a Juggernaut Ornn's worst weakness right there.
Yeah, and I'm actually wondering if we're going to see I Stupid and Undefeated One do a lane swap after they back here. Because, I mean, the Echo might have an easier time into this Mordekaiser for TC Porsche. We will have to see if that does happen. But at least Ornn, he does bring a lot of damage for a tank, so he is able to kind of fight back, especially before Porsche really starts getting items on this Mordekaiser and is still a little bit squishier.
Yep, and you can see this right now. Barmethian looking to lay out as much damage as possible, trying to lay out that shield. Has the Conqueror proc already. It's going to have to back out of that now as he took the worst end of that trade.
Yeah, and I mean, Pantheon, known for being ruthless early on, even has the Ignite in this lane too, so I Stupid, he has to be careful.
Oh, wait, he's in a bad spot. He's going to find the Ignite ticking away on him, and that's first blood going over to Barmethian.
And we were just saying, you gotta respect that. It's an early game Pantheon. He has Ignite. You just came out of a bad trade, and I Stupid, I mean, was acting a little stupid there and goes in with lowish health thingy. Yeah, I'm fine. But the Pantheon stun was pretty decent range. And forced to teleport back to the mid lane. Look at Asylum, though.
Yeah, he is looking in a bad spot here. Here comes the Silence. Silence going to be able to lay out a lot of damage, but here comes the roam yet again. Beautiful knockup coming out from Plutz in the mid lane. Secures the kill, and now Porsche looking to put some aggression back on the Undefeated One. There was a TP that was used over there inside of the mid area, it looked like, but it's going to be Stupid looking for that one. Plutz going to find himself getting caught up by Justin. Justin's going to be able to lay out a little bit of damage to him, but now it's Stone back here up in the top lane again, and Porsche getting fought. He's going to find himself in a terrible position, has the flash on the way, uses the claw brilliantly to push him on back, and does a fantastic job of that. But yet again, Gofarino, man, I got to ask you right now, how do you stop Plutz right now? Because this man has too much pressure on the map.
Somehow stop him from buying Moby Boots, I guess. That's one way, but you can't exactly destroy the enemy shopkeepers, so it's only a matter of time before he gets those Mobies and does his little around the world dealio that worked out so well last game, just constantly going to the mid lane. And I mean, we just saw it right here this game. Sure, it wasn't first blood, but able to help even out that mid lane, let his mid laner catch up a bit. But a big difference this game is Rise. They're able to get their first dragon of the series, and it is that Ocean, just like last game, and that is going to help out a ton.
Yeah, that's, in my opinion, the best Drake to be able to get early on inside the game. Gives you guys that sustain, get that first Ocean. There's not going to be any more Oceans inside the game. So you're the only one that gets that, and that's so good for laning. So you got to be thinking that Rise is very, very happy of being able to secure that for themselves.
Yeah, although last game, it wasn't entirely the laning phase that really screwed him over. It was just all the ganking we saw coming out from the death squad of Stone Whippin and Plux, especially in the mid lane. So Ocean, it will technically help with that, but not a ton. Stupid. He fancies a trade here.
Yeah, he's fancying it, trying to lay out that shield, trying to keep himself safe as can be. He's going to be able to grab that. And interesting thing, I want to take note here. So we're talking about the support difference here. Pyke actually opted for just tier 1 boots and a longsword, opting for a little bit more damage, while yet again, Plutz immediately goes back and gets Moby boots. And I think that just speaks to the priorities that these two support players have.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to last game, although Pyke does have a lot of out-of-combat move speed if he does press that W. So that is certainly one option to help him keep up. It's nowhere near the constant power that Moby's offers, but it is something. Plus, also, we were talking about, Pyke Syndrome. They do
Check
need
this
to
out in the bot lane. This could be a scary situation. They do not know. Santis does not know. He could be in a bad spot. He used the scatter of the week already. Plutz is going to be able to go for him. It's going to be Santis jumping over to the other side of the wall, but Stone is going to follow him. That Void Rush is there, and he's going to be able to pick that kill on up. Stupid. Grabbing that one. And Pantheon actually used his ultimate ability. Used that Grand Starfall, but not going to be able to catch anybody there, as we're looking for a possible dive up here in the top lane. Not going to be level 6 on the Pyke just yet. Jungle Asylum, neither is he. That's going to be a stun that's going to be able to connect. Is Undefeated One's going to find himself flashing on out of there, and is still surviving this gank. He's going right back to the tower. I don't know if this is exactly what he may want to do. Not going to be able to get the kick to land onto Jungle Asylum. Not going to be able to burp on anybody here either. But Undefeated One still picks up a kill. He's looking for more. He might be able to. The stun does not connect. It is going to be the claw. He gets a double kill under his own tower with 3 people bearing their fangs on him.
Oh my god, and an absolute travesty in the top lane. Don't mean to steal your namesake, but look in the mid lane. While that was happening, 3 people mid just hammering away at that tower, and think of how different that top lane gank would have gone had Jungle Asylum had the dragon kick for that, because he was only level 5 going into that. He hit level 6 after he died when he got the assist, I believe. But or if Justing had his own ultimate on the Pyke, and it would have helped out so much, but just between all the basic abilities, between eating up all those tower shots, it wasn't enough to kill the Ornn, despite the really great start where they just hard denied that Ornn horn coming out.
Yeah, and I mean, another big thing to actually take note of is there was a series of misplays too. You could say there was a bunch of unfortunate events, while that is also still true. Both sides misplayed. Undefeated One constantly missing out abilities, not getting the Bellows Breath properly on certain targets. Could have probably finished off some kills and stayed a little bit healthier throughout that. But constantly missing different abilities led to that, and you could see that there was just improper tower aggro juggling coming on out. But Rift Herald has been secured by Rise. Stone is going to be able to catch this rotation coming on in here. He's looking for somebody. He gets the Flash Burrow. He's going on to Santis. Scatter of the week. He's only going to be able to get onto TNS and Plutz. It's going to be the Void Rush to come on out. That's going to be 1. There's going to be 2, as they are going to be able to pick up 2 for themselves down here in the bot lane.
And Stone Whipping at it yet again on the Rex side, just going in on this bot lane and instantly helping his team to lead him. Even with the great Scout of the Week coming out from Sanctus there, it wasn't enough, because Rakana just has so much mobility. That being said, though, Rift Herald dropped in the mid lane, gonna take out a huge chunk from that mid tower, knock it down to only 3 plates left. But if you look at the bot lane tower is even lower than that, and they didn't even need the Rift Herald for that.
Yeah, it kind of talks back to this untold attention that we've been seeing here. Stone doing a fantastic job making sure that the ganks are precise and exactly where they need to be. And it goes back to what we were talking about in the last game. Unique gank patterns. This is a champion that specializes in being able to gank you from angles you do not expect. And coming from the Drake pit like that, very, very smart play so far coming out from Stone, making sure that he is a jungler to be known and be feared.
Yep, having a PhD in jungleology, that is always good to have. And it's now a 2-6 lead in the kills, not to mention about a 2,000 gold lead here at the 10-minute mark. So Horizon's got to be feeling pretty good for themselves because they've gotten themselves an early lead yet again. Time Winder almost going to stun there. Interesting to note, though, look where Stone Weapon is. We might just see another gank in the mid lane. In fact, Lux has left the bot lane with those Mobies, so deja vu, perhaps.
Yeah, here we go. Deja vu could be the name of the song that they're going to be hearing here as Plutz is not going to be caught out on a ward. I don't think they caught him, but they do have an idea that he is missing. Here comes the TP. They are going to find themselves getting stuck inside of it. Saintis looking to see what he'll be able to do. Here comes the call of the Forge God. It's on hotline, and I stupid going to be able to pick up that kill onto Saintis. Now they're going to be looking to pull out this Mountain Drake, and it's actually just going to go ahead and reset right here. Get a little bit of its HP on back, but they're just dancing around, seeing what they'll be able to do. Lee Sin looking for a possible steal. Is going to go for it. Is not going to be able to get it, and he's just going to give up his life as Jungle Asylum. Getting a little bit greedy for that mountain.
And it is going to be the Cloud Soul this game, so there is going to be a lot of potential ultimate CDR on the Rift here. As Stone Weapon, he spots himself a pike, but Justin just able to scooches a little booty out of there.
I do want to ask, does this seem a little bit desperation for some reason? Because that feels like a desperation dragon steal when it's just a mountain. I think a lot of people say, oh, mountain's not the greatest of all things. But here we go. Grand Starfall coming on in. They're going to be looking for more. They're going to be able to get the stun onto Desire. Achillion's going to find himself ignited. Heal's going to be used, trying to get the speed up. Both he's going to find the Scatter the Weak. Not going to be able to connect, as Unleashed Power is going to drop him down so critically low. But here comes the rest of Horizon. Barmithian trying to get his way on out of here. He's going to be able to reverse time and space itself. Here, going to turn this fight on its head. That's going to be one kill that goes on over. I stupid now. Going to find himself getting jumped onto. The HP bars are so critically low. This is exactly what Rise want, but they're just out of their reach. Are they? Jungle Asylum says no. He lands a beautiful kick to get the kill. And that is going to be them finding themselves getting a 1-for-1 trade there.
Yeah, but in the end, just look at the health bars on the side of Horizon. You have to feel like some of them cheated death there. Like, Justin, he wasn't able to get the ulti reset as the Pike, which is absolutely awful with those low health bars. You feel like he could have easily gotten 2, maybe even 3 had he gotten that first reset. But alas, that is sadly not the reality. But one thing to point out here is in the top lane, there's actually a huge CS differential between these two top laners right now.
Yeah, the CS differential is pretty huge. Porsche having a much better performance inside this game, despite the little bit of a fiesta that we had over there in the top lane. Promethean getting jumped onto now by Stupid. Lots of damage being put back onto him as Jungle, so I'm not going to be able to follow that up and get any damage in on this, as Stupid is going to have his chrono break up here very, very shortly. I have to keep our eyes on that.
Yeah, and keep in mind he has also finished the Proto Belt too, compared to just the Serrated Dirk and Caulfield's Warhammer for Barmethian. So there is a difference in the items right now in the mid lane that could come into play.
Justin looking for something possibly. That's going to be a tower that goes on down. First brick does fall over to him as he's trying to wait for Porsche to be in position, but sadly was not able to grab him on that.
Yep. Although, we do have another Rift Gold spawning here in just a bit. And we already see 3 members of Horizon hovering around there.
First one, Shelly. Now it's Harold's turn to make a debut. Well, any team put any priority. We did see him get summoned up in the last game. And this is a different tale, as there's only been 1 tower that's actually been cracked so far inside this game, as Horizon's only been able to crack that 1 bot lane tower. And even though I say that, you look at the gold, it is a 3k difference that benefits Horizon so far.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as bad as last game, because around this point, it was about a 5 or 6k gold lead, if I'm not mistaken. But still, it is a gold lead going over to the side of Horizon.
The big thing I have to take note of is, I feel like Oh, wait, we might see a little bit of a dive here. It looks like they may not here. They're going to go for the catch onto Whip, and they're going to be able to get him. CC lock, throw away the key, as he is going to find himself shut on down. Beautiful catch out by the side of Rise.
And that is a nice little pickup there for them. Able to share the gold thanks to the Pike. And it was a shutdown bonus too. I don't know if the Pike ultimate actually shares the shutdown bonus too, if it's just the normal kill gold. But still sharing that gold all around, and it is setting up your team for another Rift Herald. That is always nice to have.
And with that being said, we're looking at everything that's going on into this game. You're seeing that everybody's pushing around and the different advantages here that they've been able to obscure for themselves. As Herald's been summoned immediately here. They're looking to go for the aggression. Jungle Silence found themselves so desperately low. Herald's going to be able to hit onto the tower. That's going to be the call of the Forge guy coming on in. They're going to be able to lay out some damage. See him as Plutz trying to run up under the tower. He's going to be able to dodge it on out. Porsche is going to be able to get the last auto attack, but he comes back from the Shadow Realm only to find his doom. Scattered and Wheat being used to push away the rest of Horizon. And that is just unfortunate from TSM Plutz, just dodging him in that Shadow Realm.
Yeah, thanks to the flash, and couldn't be at a worse time. Sure, you get the mid tower, but that is going to be a Cloud Dragon going over to the side of Horizon here, and that is very deadly on their team comp. Think of Call of the Forge God on a much lower CDR. You can kind of spam it. Think of the Recombo on a much lower CDR. That is very scary. And then, of course, Xayah, when she has Featherstorm up, it is much harder to kill her, and it has a very long cooldown. But when you knock off 10% off of it, you've got to be feeling good. Top lane, though. Chrono Break popped.
Yeah, had to force that pop there. And it's like you said, this is a hard composition to actually fight up against when they have their ultimate abilities up at all times. And it does draw into the question with that coming in. The Syndra pick, right, is 0-3-1 right now, and really has been caught out in a lot of these little side lanes in terms of like rotating around back to lane and whatnot. It's a very immobile pick, and we've seen that weakness throughout this game so far.
Yeah, and I mean, a couple of those were just flat out ganks, and can't entirely fault Sanctus for that, but still, yeah. You kind of have to get going on the Syndra, but you're 0-3-1, down in CS as well. That is not what you want to see, because Xayah will outscale, and she will out-DPS you.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, especially with the Rakan there to back it up, plenty of space to work with. Justin and Jungle Asylum looking to rotate on around. You do see Justin does have that the Umbral Glaive and is making great use of that. And actually a little surprised that we haven't seen Lee Sin actually possibly go for it, since he plays that aggro style. Seeing a lot more players actually going for that Umbral. As stupid, looking to jump onto the Pantheon, forcing a TP here as 3 members are here from the side of Horizon to try and jump onto him. Jungle Asylum looking for something possibly to get the Scatter of the Wheat. They're going to be looking for more. That's going to be a huge Chrono Break to go back in, but it's going to be a shutdown. Barmithian picking that one on up. Beautiful catch that happened there.
Yeah, and I mean, what better way to respond to a 3-man dive than sending in your entire team? Although it does cost the mid tower, so in the long run, it is going to play out in the favor of Horizon, assuming this top tower doesn't get taken. Oh, fighting.
Right, here we go. They're going for a fight. Ornn is in range. That's going to be the call of the Forge guy that's going to be coming on out. They're going to be able to get a 2-man knockup that's going to be able to end in 1 kill for him. As Undefeated One's going to be able to jump into this fight. It's going to be Porsche getting knocked up, CC'd, locked, and he is going to go on down. A double kill to Undefeated One, and 3 kills put into the pocket of Horizon.
And that is absolutely terrifying. Just off a play, they kind of won there, but then they lose 3 in the ensuing fight, and you hate to see it because both times we've seen the Death Realm come out from TC Porsche, he's just been kind of dipped and dived around by whoever he takes into that Shadow Realm with him, which is very unfortunate as a Mordekaiser, even with the Rylai's to help slow him down. Kind of pesky.
Who does he grab though on this composition? Like Stone is able to dash around, Ice Stoop is able to dash around. The Xayah has plenty of ways to kill time. The Rakan is hard to jump onto. Undefeated One's the only option, and he's a bit tanky for you to have to deal with right now.
Yeah, although I mean there are some uses of the Death Realm that you can use in team fights, because If TSM Plex tries, might see a little bit of fight in the bot lane.
They're looking to jump onto him, getting a lot of damage actually onto Barmithian. He's dropped down so critically low actually, to bat down to half HP. So could find himself in a tricky situation if Stupid were to go for another rotation of spells, but see Stupid, he's like, I am too far out. The rest of my team is over in mid lane. I'm going to back it on up and flip to get some vision.
Yeah, although technically speaking, he could try that again. Asylum just coming in towards the spot lane right now to farm his jungle. Oh, speaking of trying again.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get the stun. Lots of damage being put back onto him yet again. And Barmithian just like, leave me alone. I'm trying to catch up and farm, buddy. I already fall off.
Yeah,
but comes Justin. Justin's looking for it. That's going to be a stun. That's not going to be able to come on out. That's going to be a beautiful flash to come on in. Echo respecting the chain CC that could possibly come out from Barmithian and Justin.
One thing I do want to draw your attention to, Travis, is looking undefeated one's inventory. We already see the firstborn item of the game, and there's only going to be more from here on out. And each of those is worth like what, about 1,000 gold in stats. So that's going to be a huge boon for your team, and it's only going to start happening more and more with each level that passes by. So definitely something we need to keep a lookout for in these upcoming levels.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big reason right there. Why you were talking about it in the pregame, why does Oink keep getting played? But it's the free gold, and they're looking like he's about to be some free gold. It's going to be the Zayat. It's going to be getting caught out. He's shot down so low. It's going to be the Death from Blood. It's going to be able to get the shot down onto him. Echo's going to be able to pick up the kill onto Pipe, but the rest of the team is just picking them apart. Horizon's looking to see what they're going to be able to do. The Chrono Break's going to be able to come out. Barmithian's going to find himself dropping on down. It's now Porsche versus the world as he has Santis to hold him. But it is going to be a two-man standing for both sides. Undefeated one. And Stupid still left standing, still looking as healthy as can be.
Yeah, and I mean, just a really good catch there. Although the stun does
they're
come
still
out.
looking for more here. There's the Claw that's going to be able to push away Stupid. But it is a Cloud Drake that is up. At this current point in time, Pyke is coming on around. Does not have Death from below just now. Saintis is very low on mana, so does need to respect that. Good use of the Bellows Breath to stay unstoppable. Not going to get pulled into damage ranges. You can see both parties are now making a beeline to this Drake.
Yeah, because I mean, both sides, they do love themselves a Cloud Dragon. And they're going to want to be fighting over it, because this would mean that there's, well, 3 buffs for the side of Horizon if they get it, and on the other side for Rise if they get it. That will even up the score in terms of dragon count. So definitely going to be a contestable one here, even though the Baron is up. Both teams seeming to prioritize our good old friend the dragon.
Yeah, Cloud Drake is always very nice, and you look at Horizon, if they get this, they will be one more closer to the soul. TSM Plutz over here on the flank is looking for something. Possibly is going to be able to get a good entrance in there. It's going to be able to lay out a lot. That's going to be the call to Forge God. So it's going to be able to pick up the kill onto Barmithian. It's going to be Saintis that's going to go on down next. And that is a double kill. 3 people go down trying to get to that Drake. And you see the pings coming on out. It's time to visit the big old purple worm over on the top side of the map.
Yep, time to kill the expired noodle, as I like to call him sometimes, because he does drop pretty quickly, especially when you have 5 men on the map compared to 2 on the enemy team. So that's going to be started up here, and it is getting shredded. Ooh, it's done in the mid lane, so fighting's not done quite yet.
Yeah. Stubia is just being a nuisance. That's his point in this game. Is he sees the Mordekaiser and he sees the Pantheon. He's like, I'm going to aggravate them a little bit. I'm going to jump in there, do a little bit. The Baron, it's gone. As Pyke is looking to try and get into somewhat range, but nobody can really contest this at this point. That is going to be Horizon taking a Baron for themselves here.
And now they are up to a comfortable almost 6,000 gold lead here, and that is going to be pretty huge, because if you look at some of the members here, I mean, everyone on the side of Horizon just has so many kills. Like, it's 8-20 on the scoreboard.
And I feel like a lot of these kills, honestly and truly, have came around neutral objective. Like, every time we see a fight that happens around a neutral objective, it feels like Horizon just becomes even stronger. And I feel like that's just been them having proper vision control at the time of the objectives. And they've been just doing a massive work playing everything out.
Yeah, and you will have to see, because now with that Baron, I mean, the map is their oyster. So they can see what they can break open here. Preferably, they will break open the base and get an inhibitor just to give them even more control over the map.
Always nice to be able to do that. They want to make sure they utilize this Baron to kind of influence some of these side waves, especially try and get some stuff going for them. As great defensive words coming out from Rise currently to try and disable any rotations they may look for.
Yeah, or any potential teleport flanks, because Undefeated 1 and I Stupid, they both have their teleports here, so we could even see a 1-3-1, and that's what it looks like it's shaping up to be.
Very smart on their part, trying to force them to make a decision, be the reactive team. Jungle Asylum going for the knockup, going to be looking for the stun. It's going to be Barmithian that's over here in the backside, looking to jump onto Asilium, but he's going to get turned on, get knocked on up. That's going to be Asilium that's going to be going onto a killing spree. Justine now is going to find himself getting knocked on up. He tries to jump on away. Ascentus is going to be able to unleash power, take out Stone. Undefeated One's over here, still chasing away. It's going to be Justin going on down. Echo has joined the fight in a huge way. Double kill going over to I Stupid. They're looking to continue their aggression on forward, but it is going to be Jungle Asylum getting out of dodge. Asilion looks like he never been touched, even though the Pantheon was breathing down his neck just 2 moments ago. I'm still looking for a way on in. That Dragon's Rage is just not there just yet. Ooh, laying out some more damage. They're looking for more. Here comes the knockup. Not going to be able to connect onto it. Porsche just found himself in a bad situation. They're turning their attention. That's 1, 2, and it's not going to be the ace as Barmithian just comes on up, but it's just enough for them to buy the space to get this in hit.
Are they trying to end here? It is going to be quite a while, more 30 seconds until the jungle and top are back for Rise Black. But the call is instead going to be go to the bot lane, grab ourselves a second inhibitor, and just help us guarantee this win.
Yeah, because, I mean, they have a minion wave right here. They do have the option, but they are going to go ahead and back it on up. They want to play it safe and steady.
And thing is, I respect that all in from the side of Rise there. It's just, that was the one moment Stone Whippin had his stopwatch. Had he not had that stopwatch, he would have dropped. He would have not been able to help out in that fight or last as long as he did. So, who knows? But as it stands, that one little broken stopwatch really helped out in the team fight for the side of Horizon.
Yeah, he was able to flash back into position to unburrow and get the knockup that his team needed to make sure that Xayah stayed alive. So, was absolutely beautiful here. And Justin is going to find himself in a really bad spot if he does not watch out. He's in a dangerous spot, but you know who else is in a jungle spot? It's Jungle Asylum. Welcome to your own asylum, buddy. I Stupid is unstoppable as he finds Jungle Asylum in his own jungle.
That's a 4-level difference.
Oh, wait, here comes Call of the Forge God. They're not done with this just yet. It's not going to be able to hit onto anybody. Bad hands, bad hands. They're going to be looking for more possibly here. Stone trying to get a kill onto Saint. This unleashed power coming out onto Plutz. It's going to be Stone picking up that kill for himself. Death from below is going to be able to get one shutdown, but it's not going to be enough as Asilion just does too much freaking damage. Porsche goes on down, and it is going to be Horizon picking up a 2-0 for themselves.
Yeah, and this is wonderful coming out from Horizon because, I mean, they're relatively new. They were only founded last year. They aren't even a year old, but here they are, their first game of the Upsurge 2020 season, and they're doing pretty well for themselves with that very strong 2-0.
Yeah, I feel like that was a very commanding 2-0, I think is a good word to use for it. I don't think they wowed anybody with individual, like, I don't think we saw any, like, pop-off laners, right? Like, we didn't see anything that was really too crazy. It just feels like this was the type of team that understood what macro was and really utilized it to the best of their ability and played off of every mistake that Rise.
Yeah, for sure. And just out-rotating them so hard. Got them the objectives, and the objectives helped win them that game in the end. Well, both games in the end, really.
Yeah, and different story this time around too. The Xayah pumping out a huge amount of damage here for their team, as we could see inside of that one. Asilion constantly had pressure put onto him, right? The Barmithian jumping into the backside. You had Jungle Asylum going back there as well. And you had Justin who was looking for that death from below whenever he possibly was, but nobody was in range for him to be able to take anything on out. And I feel like that was just a huge thing with Asilion playing the Xayah 2 games in a row was so freaking safe and still pumped out so much damage. And it just gives us a show of why Xayah was such a contested pick for so long. And now, even now, even when it's the Senna Aphelios meta in pro play, you do still see that Zaya poke its head every now and then with the amount of absurd damage it can do.
Yeah, just the Lover's Duo combo. It's always a hell of a combo. I mean, what else can you say about it, really?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, looking at everything going on through, I mean, I feel like what we need to do now. I'm rambling through so many different thoughts inside of my head, and I got so many of them, and I just want to align them into one single thing. Go for if you had to name an MVP of this series here, who is it? Who are you naming?
Plexus boots.
You know what? I'm actually 100% with you. Plutz is honestly the playmaker that this team needed, and I feel like he unlocks the game. The second Plutz starts roaming, Plutz is just unlocks his team for so much. And I even want to just go back. If you guys are unsure of that, just watch the first kill that they were able to pick up when Plutz roams into the mid lane and flashes into where the Pantheon is flashing for the knock. Like,
Yeah,
that was such a beautiful, small detail that secured them the kill inside of that, and honestly, TSM Plutz just was completely unmatched, I felt like, on every single roam that he chose.
yeah, and one thing I really wish we could just see in these post game stats is just like a heat map to see like where
Mhm,
was he most of the time. And I feel like for Plux, he would have a very evenly distributed heat map.
mhm. Yeah, I think the only time we wouldn't see Plutz anywhere is in top lane, but to be fair, nobody wants to go up to top, so I completely understand his decision. It's a scary place up there. But yeah, I agree with you. Everything from the Baron pit down to the net opposing team's nets was like his domain. It's like his lane was just about the entirety of the fields of justice. It is insane to even think about it like that. And congratulations to Blitz for being our MVP inside the series. Now, go for before we sign on off for tonight. How are you feeling? This was the first night of UPL here in 2020. How is it? How is this feeling? How are you feeling about UPL seeing some of the competition so far?
You know what? For the first game of the UPL, our premier game, so to say, this was a good one. I enjoyed it. And I hope the rest of the season is like this, that we can see everybody play at this kind of level, because it always is a pleasure to see people play at their best level, especially in this sort of tier where we have high diamonds, masters, challengers. So I can't wait to see what the rest of the season holds, to be honest, Travesty.
Yeah, and also I do want to go ahead and bring up there was a poll in the chat. TSM Plutz won the viewers MVP there, so Plutz getting that for himself as well. But with that being said, I believe that is it for us here today, and I want to just give a shout out to every one of you that came on in. Be sure to follow for more Upsurge action. I believe the net stream should be over on. That should be over on Thursday. That will be UML. I believe we are seeing C versus Ignamic. I can't say that word. Gaming. That's the second word. And that will be at 8 p.m. EST. So be sure to tune on in for that, as we should have a very fun night there as well. Be sure to have yourselves all a great night.